Hello, welcome to another That's Just Joe video. My name's Joe and that's about it, but that's not about it. In today's video, we're talking about collecting and how it's got a little bit too much. Now, as you probably know, if you're a regular viewer, I do collect action figures and toys from my favourite sort of projects and a mix of props and masks and so on. But I've been collecting as an adult now for the past 6-7 years and it's got a bit too much. It's literally got to the point where I'm just kind of ran out of room and there's really no point of buying loads of toys anymore because there's just nowhere to put them. And it does get to a point where I'm actually putting boxed figures or unboxed figures away. Now, what I do collect is actually quite specific. So in terms of Hasbro figures, I collect Marvel Legends and Star Wars Black Series figures. The DC Multiverse from McFarlane, which is unfortunately due to end very soon. Doctor Who figures, as you can see over here, from Character Options. And most recently, but not, you know, continuing really, is the DC Spin Master toys, especially with the new Superman movie. But you can go back to some of my really old videos when I was much more handsome and this room was a lot emptier. I didn't actually have that much stuff on the shelves. I had a lot of Marvel Legends stuff, a few DC things here and there, especially the Batman, because the promos for that leading up to the film's release was just so exciting. I was like, oh, I need some Batman merch and like helmets from Star Wars and so on. But then the collecting became my hobby, and not that I wanted every single thing from these waves and everything. I'm not a huge, you know, person in completing a wave. I guess one of the most recent ones I've done is my Batman Returns stuff from McFarlane. I literally bought all of that at the same time. But I've also done Marvel Legends with the Fantastic Four First Steps action figures, and here they are in a see-through bag that is just packed away, and these figures aren't even on display anymore. But I'm not really a completionist. You know, I buy what I like. You know, if I see an action figure that I think fits in with what I've got, then yeah, I'll get it. It's like, you know, like Star Wars Black Series. Like, I'm a big fan of the Force Awakens movie, so a lot of my action figures are from the Force Awakens. But most recently, I have been dipping into the prequel stuff with action figures with my, you know, Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi and little Anakin and so on. So, you know, I've been dipping in and out, but I don't really buy whole waves to kind of complete a set. But my hobby of collecting has just kind of slowed down in recent months. Granted, I haven't really like completely stopped, but I am starting to hit that wall where I'm like, what else do I need? What else do I want? And I do get myself in a rut when I am literally buying the same action figure again years later just to get hold of accessories. So for example, the McFarlane DC Multiverse stuff is really interesting at the moment because, as you probably don't know or do know, is McFarlane are losing the DC license at the end of 2026, and we're going to be getting action figures for Supergirl and so on. You know, releases coming up in the DC universe. I'm sure Lanterns is going to be on that list, but they are starting to re-release old figures to kind of put back in the market and everything and get people interested before they lose the license. And one of those figures is the Heath Ledger Joker from the Dark Knight trilogy. I love the Dark Knight. I have literally almost all of the Dark Knight trilogy action figures from McFarlane, especially the Joker, and they are re-releasing the Joker figure as a deluxe theatrical action figure, but this time it comes with particular accessories I'm very interested in, and those accessories are the guns you see here. Basically, like this gun, for example, would be great with the bank robber Joker figure I've got. It also comes with the hand with the card, which is a nice little accessory. But in terms of the others, it's the knives, the machine gun, the bazooka, and then it comes with like this little poster stand and so on. So I have actually bought this again, and the theatrical edition stuff has been really cool, like the Batman Returns, but it is pricey. They're about £30 a figure. And they come in these nice boxes and you get some nice accessories. But these re-releases are really interesting because, you know, they're repainting them, you know, doing different, you know, colors and everything, so it differentiates from the original release, but also adding these accessories, which does make me go, oh, I do need that figure, but I only want the accessories. So it's kind of ridiculous I'm doing that. I mean, one of the negatives about being a toy collector is just, you know, these brands, they cost money. They cost a lot of money to buy, and especially when they're like deluxe theatrical editions or limited edition and so on. So you kind of are having to grab them as soon as you can. But one thing I always have stood by ever since starting to collect is that I use my own money to buy stuff. I use the money I earn to buy stuff. I don't put this on credit cards or anything. I'm like really adamant about buying action figures with my actual earned money instead of a credit card. So if you're thinking of getting into this, and by the way, this video is not to go, whoa, if you're thinking about collecting toys and that, think again. It's not about that at all. It's just talking about my personal sort of ambition of collecting has kind of slowed down quite a lot, and where I'm at with collecting at the moment. But if you are going to do this toy collection thing, I really keep in mind not to get lost in that sort of credit card sort of thing. Basically, don't get yourself in a rut. Basically, you know, pay what you can, and be careful with your choices as well. Now, another thing is, it got to a point about nearly a year ago where, again, I had too much stuff. I had a lot of boxed figures that I would never put on display or get out, especially in this room, because this room's actually quite small. It might look big on camera, and especially this area over here where my TV and retro gaming setup is at the moment. But it's actually not that big, and I haven't got that much storage space in the place I live. So it got to the point where I was like, right, I need to sell some stuff. And I sold a lot of stuff, boxed, unboxed. And luckily, Vinted was a massive help for me, and eBay. I just had to get rid of stuff. And, you know, I started collecting stuff that I didn't really like and didn't want boxed anyway. For example, I had loads of Doctor Who stuff. And the main thing I want to collect from Doctor Who is the TARDISes and all the incarnations of the Doctor. And I've pretty much done that. I'm happy with the TARDISes I've got currently and all the Doctors. I've literally got every single Doctor on that shelf over there. But this stuff was actually packed away because, well, the show was disappointing. But also, I just had nowhere to put it. And then I bought this radiator shelf to just put it back out again. So, yeah, it's that as well. It's like you buy this stuff and you go, wow, yeah, I've got this toy. And then you put it in a box and you're like, oh, I'll put it on display one day in my new place or anything. But you do have to kind of think about now. So I did sell a lot of stuff. Do I regret selling some stuff? No, actually. No, I don't. I'm actually happy with what I sold. I got a little bit of my money back as well to buy more stuff. No, it wasn't really like that. I didn't just get money back and go, I'm going to spend it on more toys. But obviously there has been times since that where I have bought the odd action figure in that. My Superman 2025 collection, I was really, really adamant to get all the McFarlane toys from the Superman movie. But you know, that wave in particular was very small, so I knew it was affordable and it could fit on the shelves. And then the DC Spin Master stuff from the Superman movie was just a nice little add-on that I could have put around the door frame there, and also buying the action figures loose as well. It was just a nice little element of that. But again, I do feel I'm actually approaching this wall of slowing down and stopping collecting because, again, I've got too much. But a lot of the stuff I have now, I'm not really prepared to sell on. I don't really want to sell on stuff. The only things I am thinking at the moment isn't really action figures or the helmets I've got, or etc. etc. It's actually Funko Pops. I actually have quite a few Funko Pops, and I got rid of loads of them last year. But I've got a lot of Batman Funko Pops, and I'm just kind of going, I don't really collect Funko Pops now, so do I need to get rid of these? They're not taking up room really, but they're just piled over here. They used to be back there, but they're just kind of piled here now. But I don't really collect Funko Pops anymore, so I'm kind of moving away from that, and I am thinking, do I need to get rid of loads of these? Like, I am still gutted I've got no Marvel/MCU stuff, which again I sold a lot of last year. But I'm sad I haven't got any of that on display because, again, I just don't have the room. But these figures, I do really like them, and I'm thinking one day I'll figure out somewhere to put them. Like, this awesome Daredevil is just like one of my favorite action figures if it focuses from the Marvel Legends line. I really, really loved the show, the Netflix show and the Disney show, but I can't even put him on display. Yeah, I could put him on the desk over here or something, but you know, I've got all that Fantastic Four stuff and everything. But it's an important thing to think about when you do this as a hobby, is that you are going to get to a point where you do slow down and run out of room. So how do you kind of continue that hobby without taking the piss, basically, and just go, yeah, buy more toys, buy more waves? Well, what's helping me at the moment is these sort of import tariffs that are happening with action figures at the moment. Again, with the McFarlane stuff, £30 for this is just like insane money. It really is. Granted, it's kind of, you know, been in the region of $24.99 in the past for like the normal figures, so an extra £5 just doesn't seem that much. But again, for one figure, 30 quid, like the returns figures, it's just like, wow, that's 30 quid. Like that's quite a lot of money, and I just dropped that and nearly broke it. And that's another thing about collecting is you can damage figures easily. But yeah, it's just I feel like I've almost done. And again, you know, one of my favorite lines is the McFarlane stuff, and with their contract coming to an end, I'm like, oh god, like Mattel are getting it, and then that's going to be a whole new toy collecting market. You know, that's going to be new figures coming out. Do I want to move into that? So I don't know what's going to happen there. Like, do I just get rid of all my McFarlane stuff? Probably not. And I am kind of fingers crossed like they'll sort out some sort of deal by the end of the year. But I really enjoyed the McFarlane line, and I think they've done a smashing job with figures I've really wanted. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens there. We'll see what the Mattel stuff's like. But again, I have nowhere to put it at the moment. With the Supergirl movie coming out, again, I don't think I'm going to be collecting every single action figure in that wave, but I'd at least love Supergirl to be on my Superman shelf, definitely. So yeah, it's kind of me thinking ahead and going, right, what can I buy and what can I store? And but I don't really want to store stuff anymore. I've just got boxes of stuff, like, you know, packed away with the limited space I've got. You know, I've literally got them boxes within boxes. So action figure collecting, I have slowed down quite a lot, and I am kind of rethinking my strategy with what to do and everything. But what I want to know is, what do you think? Like, are you a toy collector? How do you kind of categorize everything? Like, how are you going to approach your collecting, you know, as your hobby and everything? How do you do it? Let me know in the comments below. I'd really love to hear your thoughts. But this was a very different video today. I just kind of wanted to talk about how I'm slowing down with collecting as much as I'm slowing down with making YouTube videos. I don't really know what I want this channel to be at the moment. I really don't. So fingers crossed I'll figure it out one day. But I just wanted to share with you kind of my personal collecting journey. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed it or not. Like the video, really helps me out. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.